We are still on citizenship. Right now, let's proceed to naturalized citizens. Naturalization may be possible in four ways. Administrative naturalization is the first. Then you have judicial naturalization. Then you have derivative naturalization emanating from uh, prior naturalizations. Then you have congressional act. First up, we have administrative naturalization. This means that this does not involve any judicial proceedings, and the qualification is determined by the appropriate administrative office in charge of naturalization. The Administrative Naturalization Act of 2000 is relevant here. This pertains to the naturalization of aliens born and residing in the Philippines who may be granted Philippine citizenship. These are the qualifications. The applicant must be born in the Philippines and residing therein from birth. So born and raised here, resided here. The applicant must be 18 years of age at the time of the filing of the petition. Third, he must be of a good moral character and believes in law. No? Fourth, he must have received his education in the Philippines, private or public school, where you teach history, government, civics, and importantly, the school must not be exclusive to a particular race. It's a Filipino education together with other Filipinos. No? Then you have the applicant must have a known trade or business or profession or a lawful occupation. This is to enable him not to be a dependent on welfare. No? He must not be a burden to our economy. Then followed by the qualification that he must be able to read and write and speak Filipino or any of the dialects in the Philippines. And he must have mingled with Filipinos and evince this desire to embrace our customs and traditions. So practically, this speaks of the capacity to be with Filipinos financially, socially, and on the matters of law and governance. There must be that intent, no, to support validly or legitimately established governments. No, of course, you are disqualified if you have none of the qualifications. You're opposed to organized government. You believe in chaos, no? Defend the teaching or necessity or of the propriety of violence, assault, or assassination for the predominance of your ideals. No? Polygamists, those convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude, and those suffering from mental alienation or incurable contagious diseases. If you have not mingled socially with Filipinos during your entire residence here, you are disqualified. And you belong to a country which has no reciprocity of the same grant to Filipinos. And of course, when the Philippines is at war with your country during the period of war. So those instances, the applicant may be disqualified. No? The procedure is simple. You file your petition with the Secretariat of the Special Committee on Naturalization. This is with the office of the committee, which is with the office of the Solicitor General. So you file your petition with the Secretariat, with the Special Committee. The petition is assessed. It's a second of the procedure. The petition is published for the world to know. Maybe there are oppositions or objections, or there may be somebody who would come up and raise that the fact that you have committed a crime involving moral turpitude, or that you have not socially mingled with Filipinos, and so on. It's forwarded and posted to the National Bureau of Investigation, the DFA, the Bureau of Immigration, and the LCR. And then you have to pass a test and the interview, after which you take your oath, and your certificate of naturalization is forwarded to the BI and the LCR. So no court procedures there. The more complicated one is the judicial naturalization procedures. No, this is under CA 473. Almost the same qualifications and disqualifications. The age is age of majority. At our time, present time, it's 18. You must be a resident in the Philippines 10 years. That's the general rule. But it could be reduced to 5 years if you have honorably held an office under the government of the Philippines, If you have established a new industry or a useful invention, maybe a cure to a disease or an illness, no? Or maybe have created a new business, an enterprise. You will have married a Filipino woman. If you have married a Filipino woman, the case of Moya Limyao versus Commissioner of Immigration, you only require 5 years, no? 5 years. If you are married to a Filipino woman, not 10 years. But what if you are married to a Filipino man? If you are married to a Filipino man, you don't need to undergo the 5-year period of residence. You should only show that you have all the qualifications and none of the disqualifications, and then you file your petition for the cancellation of your ACR, showing proof of your marriage to an undisqualified, and that you are not disqualified, no? Because you are ipso facto a Filipino upon the marriage to the Filipino. No? You also have the 10 years reduced to 5 years if you have engaged as a teacher in the Philippines for a school, private or public, that does not become exclusive to any race, and you teach in those schools as established in the Philippines. If you were born in the Philippines, but you have not continuously resided here, so if you continue to reside, then you can apply for, at the age of majority, your petition for naturalization by administrative proceedings. But if you did not continue to reside, you go through the judicial proceedings, but it's reduced from 10-year waiting period to 5 years only. So, character, good moral character, the same qualifications as with almost with a admin naturalization. Property, must have a lucrative trade or profession or calling, no? The qualification of some lucrative trade, profession, or occupation um, um, it's sufficient to show that your income gives you enough to save for the rainy days, no? And that the basis is the um, to give you your family comfort and such support within acceptable standards, no? Now, in determining the lucrative income, you do not put together or commingle your income with your spouse if he is high earning. You, the petitioner, it's only your income that is considered. And then it's determined at the time of the filing of the petition, meaning a previous income has no bearing, nor shall an inchoate or unexpected income. It should be your income at present. So education, a requirement for judicial naturalization, is that you should be able to speak English and any of the principal Philippine languages. You must have enrolled your children, if minors or of school age, in any public or private schools where Philippine history, government, civics are taught or prescribed. So educating them in Philippine schools in your entire stay in the Philippines. No? You are disqualified if you're opposed to the organized government or affiliated with any association or group of persons who uphold or teach the doctrines of opposing organized government. The same disqualifications for admin naturalizations. Defending or teaching the necessity of chaos, no? Violence, personal assault or assassination to succeed in your or the predominance of your ideas. Polygamist, conviction of a crime involving moral turpitude, if you have mental alienation or incurable contagious disease. If you have not mingled with Filipinos during your entire stay in the Philippines, or you are a subject of another country where the Philippines is at war, and if there is no reciprocity. Same disqualifications. So there is a requirement in judicial naturalization of 2 witnesses. The 2 character witnesses will vouch for your qualifications. They will be the assurers of your character. They will guarantee that you are qualified. They should know you personally. Who should they be? They must be also citizens of the Philippines. They have credibility. They know you personally, the petitioner, and they know you personally to be a resident of the Philippines, of good moral character, and you are morally irreproachable. So they can attest to your qualifications. The 2 qualified witnesses should be of those characteristics because they are the insurers of the petitioner. So there is no point in engaging professional witnesses. The witnesses must be capable and competent enough to vouch for you. So the procedure, you declare your intention with the OSG 1 year before the actual application. So 1 year before your application, declaration of intention with the OSG. Then you file your petition with the RTC after 1 year, and hearing proceeds, except if the election is near, 30 days before election. No? After hearing, after proving that you have all the qualifications and none of the disqualifications, a decision is made by the court. But the decision, though it can become final, is not executory because you have to come back after 2 years, after your 2-year probation period, after the decision has become final. So a summary hearing, therefore, happens after 2 years. In the 2-year period, there will be assessment of the judge. Did you leave the country during the 2-year period? No? Did you devote yourself for a lawful calling? Did you get convicted of an offense against government? Did you commit an act prejudicial to national interest or inimical to government policy? No? When you have passed the probation, the summary hearing, then you take your oath before the same RTC that heard your petition. Thereafter, the certificate of naturalization is issued to you because by then, the decision has already been final. It's a mere confirmation of what already was the decision 2 years ago. No? So the cancellation of your ACR with the Bureau of Immigration follows after. So what is the effect of the naturalization as to the family? For the wife, if the wife is legally married to the naturalized husband and does not have any disqualification, only needs to go into administrative proceedings, no? Administrative proceedings to confirm that you have all the qualifications and none of the disqualifications. So why such a policy, of adopting the wife, or the entire family, of giving them citizenship by derivative naturalization? Because of the family. Because if we do not have that prerogative of allowing derivative nationality or naturalization, we'd be separating the family from each other. That's why, as far as the kids are concerned, they also have the derivative naturalization. However, if the child is already of age, no effect. If a minor born in the Philippines automatically becomes a citizen upon naturalization of the father, if born in the Philippines. But if born abroad, you qualify. If born before the naturalization, residing in the Philippines at the time of the naturalization, automatically becomes a citizen. If not residing in the Philippines, then you have to take permanent residence in the Philippines before reaching the age of majority. Okay, so after 18 years of age, he must already be, he must continue to be a Filipino if he resides here permanently before reaching that age. If born abroad, after the naturalization of the father, you are considered a citizen on the condition that upon reaching the age of majority, you take an oath of allegiance. No? So that's derivative naturalization. There is a fourth mode of naturalization, which is legislative naturalization. This is by virtue of a congressional act, like what happened to Colas. So it's the wisdom of Congress that determines your naturalization for you. If there is naturalization, there is what we call denaturalization. This is the cancellation of your certificate of naturalization issued earlier by the RTC. This is filed with the RTC. Regardless of your residence, you go to the same RTC that granted your naturalization, and then file the petition there for the denaturalization proceedings. What are the grounds if the certificate of naturalization was fraudulently obtained? If within 5 years following your issuance of your naturalization certificate, you return to your native country or some foreign country and establish your permanent residence there. If your petition was with an invalid declaration of intention with the OSG, if your students fail to graduate in Philippine schools, except when the fault is academic and not because it's voluntary, that you just transfer them. No? if it is shown that the naturalized citizen has allowed himself to be used as a dummy, it's a ground for the naturalization. So the burden of proof for naturalization is with the applicant. It's always the applicant. Why? Because naturalization is a mere privilege to an alien, for an alien, that the burden of proof is for him to show that, yes, full compliance with all of the requirements. No? Naturalization proceedings are imbued with public interest. So it's a mere opportunity to be a Filipino. It's not a right. So how do you lose or reacquire your citizenship? You find it primarily in the 87 Constitution, declaring that Philippine citizenship may be lost or reacquired under law. And citizens of the Philippines who marry aliens shall retain your citizenship unless you perform an act denouncing the same. So you have RA 9225. This is the Nationality Act. No, you are a dual citizenship act. That those who are natural born, pero you have lost your status as a Filipino because of naturalization in a foreign country, you can have the reacquisition of your former Philippine citizenship, dual citizenship, if you take an oath. So this is the oath. You take it, then you can have dual allegiance or dual citizenship. So it also has its own derivative citizenship. For your unmarried children, legitimate or otherwise, or adopted below 18, all those who reacquire Philippine citizenship shall be deemed citizens of the Philippines. No? The children nila. No? If you want to exercise your civil and political rights and liabilities or duties, there are special qualifications. No? If you intend to exercise your right to vote, you must be qualified to vote under the Constitution and the Overseas Absentee Voting Act. But if you want to run for office, there's an additional qualification that you must make your own personal renunciation of your oath of allegiance with another country, your citizenship with another country. So the right to vote or be elected or appointed to any office in the Philippines cannot be exercised or extended to the following. If you are a candidate or occupying a position or office in another country, you know, if you're in active service or as a commissioned or non-commissioned officer in the armed forces of another country, except when there is a treaty. Okay? Except when there is a treaty. So you have here the case of Lopez versus Comelec. Well, in all these cases, Supreme Court would seem to say that these candidates run for office because they feel that they have qualified, but they are dual citizens, no, dual citizens. But when they reacquired Filipino citizenship, they forgot to renounce foreign citizenship. They just relied on their oath of allegiance. The oath of allegiance is a different requirement from the renunciation of foreign citizenship. It is the renunciation of foreign citizenship, not the oath of allegiance, that qualifies you to run for office. No? So how do you reject foreign citizenship? By an affidavit, jury sworn before an officer authorized to administer oath. This case of Gana Karait versus Comelec, there was a question as to whether she needed to file for dual citizenship and take her, whether there is a need for her to take her oath of allegiance for her to run for office. Sabi ng Supreme Court, no more, because he was dual citizen not by choice but by consequences of the person being born abroad, where whose sanguinis and jus soli are recognized. No? So you also lose your citizenship the following way: by naturalization in a foreign country, but it must be expressed a renunciation, not a mere presumptive renunciation or renunciation by assumption. When we consider, sabi ng Supreme Court, the renunciation needed to lose the Philippine citizenship, it must be expressed. The mere fact that the private respondent, in fact, was a holder of 2 passports does not make him automatically conclusive that he has dual citizenship. So it must be, or that he renounced. It must be open and clear that renunciation was made. No? Once Philippine citizenship is renounced because of naturalization in a foreign country, person ceases to be a Filipino. Okay. So you lose your Philippine citizenship if you subscribe to an oath of allegiance to support the constitution or laws of a foreign country. But you cannot do this while the Philippines is at war. Remember the case of People versus Manayao. If you render service or accept commission in the armed forces of another country, yes, it's possible that you can be denied, but what you need to do is determine why you are serving the armed forces of the foreign country. There might be a treaty, no? If you lose your Philippine citizenship, if your certificate of naturalization is cancelled, no? Through the appropriate petition in the RTC. So how do you reacquire Philippine citizenship? It's by naturalization or repatriation or by legislative act. For repatriation, this refers to women who have lost their Philippine citizenship by marriage, and those natural born who have to leave the country for political and economic reasons. What you do is you take your allegiance with the Philippines and register the same to the nearest civil registry and the Bureau of Immigration. So this is the case of Benson versus HRET. Scenario is you were once natural born, you lost your Philippine citizenship, but when you lost your Philippine citizenship by naturalization in a foreign country, subsequently you shed off your former citizenship and you wanted to recover by law your former Philippine citizenship. Sabi ng Supreme Court, that could be possible. But what is the nationality now of the Filipino? Is he naturalized or natural born? Supreme Court said, by reacquiring Philippine citizenship, he is reverted back to the status of being natural born. So dual citizenship is considered by the court to be inimical. Dual allegiance is considered by the Constitution to be inimical to the interests of the state, but not dual citizenship, because dual citizenship is something that you may not be privy to. You may be born in a country where citizenship is by virtue of place of birth, but in our country we adhere to the nationality theory as well as use sanguinis that you are a Filipino because you are born of a Filipino mother or father. So same case in Simeon versus Dato Manong. So that's it for citizenship.